Yo, what's going on, people? It's your boy Huncho back at you again with another video. And so I know a lot of people watching this have been waiting on the outcome from this situation, because it's been quite literally months now, because the sentencing date had been pushed back until August. But we are here now, and for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about small ex-YouTuber Verphy Kudi getting sentenced for leaving her 20-month-old baby to starve to death in a flat in Brighton while she was out partying on a bender for her 18th birthday in December of 2019. We've looked into this story a couple of times before, but today more details have emerged surrounding this case, as it always does with the sentencing hearing. But for anyone who isn't familiar with this situation, on the 5th of December 2019, Verphy would leave her flat in Brighton and headed to London, where she spent her birthday with her boyfriend. 2 days later, having still not gone back home, she went to an event in Elephant and Castle where she had a DJ announce her birthday.
Flashlights out on my birthday, girl. Our birthday, girl. I got one message for you.
On the 9th of December, she moved the bender over to a birthday party in Coventry before returning to London the next day, and then she went back home on the 11th of December. When she returned home, her young baby Asaya was believed to have been dying, lying on the floor, but Verphy took more than 2 hours, believe it or not, to call emergency services. Within those 2 hours, she could be seen emptying bags into a communal bin before going back to her flat. When she eventually called emergency services, she told them her baby wasn't waking up. At around 6:20 p.m, an ambulance crew arrived where they said Asaya was incoherent, distressed and distraught. Verphy would go on to tell paramedics that she'd been sleeping all day, she'd given her milk and cowpole, then allowed her to sleep. Asaya would eventually be taken to hospital, but was sadly pronounced dead on arrival. A post-mortem examination would conclude that the cause of death was starvation and influenza, with reported signs of dehydration and severe nappy rash. In more details that have now emerged, it's believed that when Verphy had been first interviewed by police, she claimed that she had been with Asaya at the flat at all times, except for one visit she made with her to London. But after discovering the CCTV footage and mobile phone footage of her out and about, the police had her banged to rights. It was also heard that after growing up in a decent family home, Verphy became withdrawn from the age of 14, beginning to bunk off school and not returning home. Social services decided to step in, and she was assigned to a social worker and was moved to a placement at a safe house in Norfolk. But there were concerns that she had become involved in child sexual exploitation and had fell pregnant, so she moved back to Brighton. She was moved in with foster carers, and Asaya was born on the 22nd of March 2018. They were immediately placed on a child protection plan, though there was no social worker assigned to her when she died. They would eventually go on to live with Verphy's mother, but 3 months before Asaya's death in September of 2019, the two were moved by the council to a flat in a sheltered residential block for vulnerable families. The flats are independent units, and staff do not enter the living areas or carry out regular inspections, but there are members of staff located in reception 24 hours a day. Verphy was said to have settled in well, but it's believed she began to abandon Asaya alone in the flat to meet up with friends and go out to parties. In the 3 months leading up to her death, there were at least 6 other occasions where she left her alone in the flat, and once for 2 days. But after pleading guilty to manslaughter charges, Verphy Kudi was handed a 9-year jail sentence. And so we now have more in-depth details surrounding this situation. I know before a lot of people were wanting to know what exactly was going on surrounding this case, and hopefully now it is a bit more clear. But I did say this in my last video as well, that the main blame of course lies with Verphy, but we do have to be asking questions as to why no social worker was assigned to the pair when unfortunately Asaya would go on to die, because at the end of the day, had a social worker been involved, we might not be in this situation. Again, I'm not taking the blame away from Verphy because it does fall on her, but we do have to ask why these support systems weren't around, which could have prevented this little baby from going on to die. But I do want to take this time out to send my condolences over to Asaya's family and friends. Such a young baby, only 20 months old, and has unfortunately died at the hands of her mother when she had her whole life ahead of her. But give the video a like for more crime related content like this, and make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't. It's been me, Ape Huncho, and I'll see you in the next one.